Hello. Today we meet in the west, in the Norse Gael village of Írabýr. Plan is to have a look around and explore some of the history of this place before sleeping in the woods on the local heath. Feel free to come with. Írabýr has been settled for over 2,500 years. The story goes that a local was digging for victory in their backyard during the Second World War and unearthed the Roman bowl. Archaeologists eventually moved in and many trenches were dug. What they found was an enclosed Roman settlement measuring over 70 metres by 100 metres, dating from the 1st to 4th centuries AD. So Írabýr would have been a settlement when Mells was a Roman market town and a Roman road ran down the Wirral to Chester. Other artefacts were found dating to the 2nd century BC. Further digging revealed settlement here actually dates back to the 6th century BC or the early Iron Age. No records remain of what the place would have been called during these periods. Many megalithic stone structures have been recorded across the Wirral. Sadly, the majority are lost today. It's still cool to think the first settlers of Írabýr would have held ceremonies and worshipped their pagan deities at the Wirral stone circles. In 902 AD, a Norse Gael fleet, led by the warlord Írabýr, was chased out of Dyfflin in Ireland by the forces of two Irish kings. They sailed east across the Irish Sea and landed on the Isle of Anglesey in the Kingdom of Gwynedd, and they were repelled in one of the largest Viking invasions Wales ever seen. Continuing east, Ingemund and his people reached the Wirral, where they were allowed to settle peacefully by Athelflaed, Lady of Mercia. Many settlements were founded. Some of them still exist today. One of those was Írabýr, the Irish settlement. Somewhere in Irbyr's boundary is a field no longer marked on any maps, named Heskefsfield. Comes from the Norse Hestaskate, meaning horse racing track. The Norse were fond of the sport of horse racing, and the Irish who settled here took to training and trading horses. For over 100 years, Írabýr was famed for breeding trusty steeds. As part of the deal, Ingemund and his people agreed to safeguard the region from further Viking raids. But it didn't take long for Ingemund to break the pact with raids on Chester and into Gwynedd. Mercia had no choice but to fortify many settlements, including Chester, Brunanburh, Rumcoven, Manchester and Riflin. At this point, the Wirral Norse were openly allied with the Greater Norse hordes of Britain. The Norse Gael settlers continued to flourish long after Athelflaed's death in 918 AD. I'll tell you more about the Wirral Norse in future videos. After the Normans arrived, large parts of the Wirral were kept as hunting grounds. In 1093, Írabýr and surrounding lands were donated to the Abbey of St. Wirral. And they were donated by Hugh Lupus, second Norman Earl of Chester. A moated manor and courthouse were built in the late 11th century by the abbey, and it was rebuilt in the 17th century as Irby Hall. It still stands today. Local legend tells of underground escape tunnels which run from the hall down to the banks of the River Dee. The abbey built estates across the Wirral, including on Hilbury Island and at Monk's Ferry. The Normans rebuilt many of the old Saxon churches, including in Beberton, Brunanburh, Offakerich, Torstenston and Woad Kirkja. And so, the paganism that had took root for over 100 years was replaced with Christianity. don't know much about Írabýr Quarry. What I do know is there are medieval listed buildings in the area made from the same red sandstone. There are several quarries on this area of the Wirral. I recommend taking a walk through somewhere like Caldy, where you can see the real beauty pulled from these quarries. And now the fun part, strolling the woods at night, sitting and listening to the sounds of nature, resting my head on Írabýr soil. In my opinion, if you want to take a place in fully, you have to experience it at night too. I'm also eager to see if there are any ancient energies in the twilight hours on the heath. There's a local legend which tells of the old man of the woods and a fairy figure who makes rare appearances in the ancient woodlands of the Wirral. Accounts vary from a benevolent old man to a horrifying creature. He's mostly seen by children or people who are on their own. He manifests and startles people before vanishing just as quickly. He moves across the Wirral and the sightings move with him. He speaks, but there's no record of what he says. The last reported sighting was a long time ago, but I'm often in the Wirral woodlands and I like to keep an eye out just in case. Maybe you should start doing the same. In the early 1900s, a local young man played the organ at Irby Methodist Church. His name was Frank Lester. When World War I kicked off, he enlisted, joining the 10th Battalion of the Lancashire Fusiliers. He acquitted himself well, seen a lot of action in France, where the British attempted to push back the German front line. 12th of October 1918, in heavy rain and sleet, urban gun battles raged across the village of Neuville in France. Frank, along with 7 comrades, found himself in the thick of it. Pushing forward, Frank led the charge and entered the back door of a house, armed only with a pistol, where he subdued 2 machine gun wielding German soldiers. The rest of his party followed him inside. A German grenade damaged the back of the house, making it impossible to leave that way, and a German heavy machine gun nest covered the street outside the front door. Looking out of a window, Frank witnessed another group of British soldiers pinned down in ruins across the street, being picked off by an enemy sniper. As the Germans regrouped, something had to be done. "I'll settle him." Those were Frank Lester's last words. Frank ran out the front door, made a mad dash into enemy fire. He made it across the street, killed the German sniper in close quarters combat, before falling down himself, mortally wounded. Witnesses said it was certain death to leave the front door, and Frank willingly gave his own life to save those of his comrades. Frank was 22 years old when he died that day. Frank Lester was posthumously awarded the Victoria's Cross for bravery, the highest and most prestigious order of the British honours system. He was buried in the village of Neuville, and he's listed on memorials in Hoylake and Thurston. His medals are on display at the Imperial War Museum in London. Frank Lester, a true Wirral legend. Thanks for your service, and may he rest in peace. Time to get my head down now. I'm expecting dog walkers in these woods early. See ya in what'll be a couple of hours for me, but a few seconds for you. I won't be witnessing the sunrise on the horizon this morning, but it's still a beautiful thing. Witnessing the morning light coming through the trees in the woods. Írabýr sure does have a vibe. I've enjoyed getting out and experiencing the place. I'll be out again soon with another instalment somewhere else. Thanks for watching. Look after yourself.